What is the greatest G-rated insult you've ever heard? It's hereditary. Me to my dad every time I do something dumb, and he calls me out on it. This is A+. My brother once drunkenly called someone a non-essential vitamin. Why is this so funny? In medicine, non-essential vitamins get filtrated and send up being urine. Often when we see people buying lots of vitamins, the comment is I bloody bet is going to be an expensive wee. You have the communication skills of an alarm clock. I wish I lived in a place with people that were smart enough to be offended by something like this. Please make me into one of those people and explain why/how badly I should be offended by that. It's impossible to underestimate you. Give your balls a tug. Duck, you sure see. When my daughter was little, about 4, we spent the night at my parents', and I was brushing her long hair after her bath. My dad told her she had such pretty hair and asked if he could have a little to cover his bald spot. She didn't even look up and said, I think you have enough on your back to cover that. When my granddaughter was 10, she stayed homesick from school one day, and I burned some accrued leave to watch her. Around lunchtime, she felt well enough for mac and cheese. So I grab a box from the cupboard and start scanning each side. This took a while, but I found the very small print and say, oh, good directions, without missing a beat. She says, you'll need them. Burn. Literally. If she was a spice, she'd be flour, apostrophe. Pretty much the same as you unseasoned chicken wing. You single layer lassane. You couldn't pour water out of a boot if the instructions were on the bottom. I love this one. Well, what do you want from me? If I turn it over it'll spill. Wait. Maybe I could put a mirror on the floor and... You look easy to draw. One Punch Man theme intensifies. Okay. When the toddler in babysitting came over, lifted up my shirt to expose my belly, then started squeezing my tummy pudge while saying squishy squishy. I had salad for lunch the rest of the week. Toddlers are the biggest little critics and they will give it to you straight. When I was about 4, I went up to my grandpa at the pool, gave one poke to his tummy fat, and said you're fat, then ran off. He still brings it up to this day, and has eaten healthier ever since. Huh. My boyfriend's grandparents loved to be naked. I've never met his granddad as he passed away 8 years ago, but I've seen his grandma naked. Apparently when my boyfriend was about 3, he saw his granddad walking to the bathroom naked, pointed at his penis, and was like what's that little thing there? Your life is more about regret management than goal achievement, isn't it? My death will be known as collateral damage to this insult. Your life will, at best, serve as a warning to others. A young woman was being very rude to the restaurant staff, so an old lady that overheard her said, oh honey, you're not pretty enough to be acting like that. Reminds me of the video of a cop writing a ticket to some girl who asks, I thought you don't give tickets to pretty girls. Yes ma'am, that's correct. Sign here. Here it is link. youtube.com/watch v=GPOYUB42 yi. Police brutality. Good old England. Throwing out the classics. I once heard someone refer to a coffin in the most spectacular way in a sentence, something like yeah mum, looks older than mine and she's in a wooden onishi. Sentences you can actually hear. Wooden on a set. I'm both surprised and pleased to see you, but just a little bit more surprised than pleased. Overheard as my grandfather opened the door to see his old college roommate who dropped by after a 40-year absence. This sounds like something Eric would say. I'm sure I don't know why. Has just a simple tailor. My oldest daughter called me Captain Hook when she was 3. She had run off to her room in a fit of rage and apparently that was the worst insult she could come up with. Definitely a moment where I tried to hide the fact that I was laughing. Every time my brother was mad, my mother told him he was precious. So in a fit of rage he yelled, "You're precious, and you're precious, and you're precious," before storming off lol. Somehow I read this in Oprah's "You get a car, and you get a car" voice. I don't know what your problem is, but I bet it's hard to pronounce. Why? What's your name? Oh shit. You look like someone whose family tree is a wreath. Edit for shameful grammar. I heard a similar one. You look like your family tree is a ladder. Your family tree is a telephone pole. I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. In an adventure game I used to play, can't remember which, if you tried something that didn't work, the narrator would say, I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. An accidental insult. A guy visited me once at home and, in an attempt to win my baby sister over, told her she looks like Barbie. Our dog's name is Barbie. I've never seen a 4-year look so offended. Haha, this is my favorite from the bunch, because it's so innocent. My daughter was going to sing a song in a talent show. Daughter to son, are you going to be in the talent show too? Son, no, I don't have a talent. Daughter, of course you do. Everyone has a talent. Like mine is singing. Son, no it isn't. Burn. This was a bad day for me until now. Fayo. Glad to be of service. I hope the rest of your day is as pleasant as you are. That's perfect. They won't know if it's a compliment or an insult. I saw a story on Reddit, probably fake, I know, but it's satisfying anyway, about a retail worker at a customer service counter who said to a really rude customer, I hope the rest of your day is as pleasant as you are. The customer flipped out and demanded to see a manager. The manager came out while the customer is practically frothing at the mouth. This employee was so rude and terrible, and you should fire her right now. Then the manager asked her exactly what his employee had said to her, and the customer repeated it, and the manager asked why exactly that was so terrible. In fact, it sounded like quite a nice thing to say, and now the customer couldn't explain why it was terrible without admitting that she'd been awful herself. So she stormed off, and then everybody clapped, and the manager gave her a raise, and that manager's name? Albert Einstein. Close bracket. He suffers from a deep and abiding delusion of adequacy. Apostrophe. A favorite of my dad's was of all my little swimmers. How were you the winner? Said by an elderly woman in Alabama to, I assume, her granddaughter, you need to get better looking. Cause your brains aren't getting you anywhere. Apostrophe. Your grades say marry rich, but your face says study more. You have a face for radio. And a voice for the newspaper. Apostrophe. One of the people I listen to on radio is like that. Brilliant. But ugly with a really annoying voice. His books are good though. Idiot sandwich. What are you? An idiot sandwich. If you were any simpler you'd have to be watered and kept in the sun. You're just a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck. NYEH. Pot of greed. Your mother buys you mega blocks instead of Legos. So once on FB Marketplace, a lady posted 2 giant totes of Legos for like $100. I couldn't pass that up. I get to her house, and on further inspection, they're all mega blocks and other various generic toy bricks. I ask her about 2, and she says there's some Legos mixed in there, but really what's the difference? I politely declined and left. I'd have been on the phone to Trading Standards. If you were more inbred you'd be a sandwich. I don't give a care. Said by my brother at age 10. I don't give a flying heck. Deep as a saucer. Sharp as a marble. Apostrophe. If your brain was a jar, I'd fit more things in my pocket. Apostrophe. Bonus points if said by a girl. Girl pants lack decent pockets. Anyone who has ever loved you was wrong. BRRRRRRR. That's cold. South African. You sound like you shop at Pep Clothing. He Pep is Caxo Marxin. You look like the mud cake I made today. My kid age 5. Girl head. The daycare staff had to inform me of that one. I mean, he wasn't technically wrong. You're an open book written for very dumb children. From the Umbrella Academy edit. Also, and I'm guessing you weren't burdened with an overabundance of schooling. From Firefly. Lila's quote had me laughing. But 5's description of his brother was definitely better. Imagine Batman. Then aim lower. Apostrophe. The best part about that is the guy he was talking to was from 1963. So he either doesn't even know who Batman is, or he's thinking of campy 40/50s Batman. If your brain was dynamite you wouldn't have enough to blow the wax out of your ears. If your brain was petrol you wouldn't have enough to power an ants motorbike halfway around the inside of a Fruit Loop. If brains were leather you wouldn't have enough to saddle a June bug. If you rolled your brain down the cutting edge of a razor blade it'd look like a BB rolling down a 4-lane highway. I heard it is an 8-lane highway. Back in 6th grade, when the teacher used it on a classmate. Don't feel bad for her, she didn't get it. I'd mess up your face. But your mama did it for me. That boy's so ugly his mama carried him around upside down for the first 3 months of his life cause she thought he only had one eye. Apostrophe. You absolute walnut. I heard someone call somebody an absolute desk, and it's one of my favorite things ever. You absolute desk. You're about as useful as a football bat. You aren't that pretty to be this stupid. Oh bless your heart. Honey, you aren't pretty enough to be that stupid. I have found out that bless your heart alone is the southern equivalent of duck off. I have neither the time nor the crayons to explain this to you properly. This guy Marines. If he could understand what you are saying he would be very upset. Your parents must have fed you walnuts with a slingshot. Apostrophe. You have a face like a rat catcher's mallet. And you should be dumpster diving for ham scraps. You 6-piece chicken McNobody. One of my all-time favorites. From Community. When Frankie really lays into Dean Pelton, I have a rule about being constructive. So I can't ask any questions right now. Because all of the questions I have right now are rhetorical, and they end with the word idiot. Do you know what a rhetorical? No, of course you don't know what that is. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but you're so stupid. You have no idea, and you're the only one who has no idea, because guess why? Don't answer that. You'll get it wrong. So dumb. You're just a dumb little man who tries to destroy this school every minute. Apostrophe. His face after that is so funny. Mr. Rogers would be disappointed with your life choices. Ducking went nuclear there. I say something similar in League of Legends. When people are being toxic, I will say, you are not being the neighbor Mr. Rogers knew you could be. I'm amazed at how often that it changes people's behavior. What you lack in smarts, you make up for in lack of smarts. With my head and your body, we'd make one very smart walrus. He's so stupid he can't count higher than 10 without taking off his pants. And even then he'd only get to 10.5. Not G-rated, but made me laugh. A few old favorites. I hope you step in a puddle while wearing your socks. You take such pride in your ability to grasp the obvious. You should never have been told to be yourself. You remind me of a trained monkey. Before the training of course. Who are you calling a cootie queen? You lend liquor. What the French? Toast? You definitely have a race car bed. Race car beds are not to be insulted. You look like a visible fart. Scarlett Johansson. SNL. I don't care that you broke your elbow. I'm about to say it. Say it. You son of a motherless goat. From Roxanne starring Steve Martin. What up? Fellow old person. 3 Amicus. I fart in your general direction. Deleted. R-rated insult hidden away in there. Elderberries were fermented to make alcohol and hamsters are rodents. Aka they love to duck. So he's really saying your mother was a whore and your father was a drunk. You look like you're going to spend your life having one epiphany after another. Always thinking that you finally figured out what's holding you back. And how you can finally be productive and creative and turn your life around. But nothing will ever change. That cycle of mediocrity isn't due to some obstacle. It's who you are. The thing standing in the way of your dreams is that the person having them is you. XKCD. Thanks for that. Was honestly in need of a reminder. I bite my thumb at thee. Your moral compass is a roulette wheel. Your mama so dumb she decided to keep you. Calling someone an oxygen thief is always good. Just got called a catfish by an 8-year-old yesterday because I only have the outsides of my mustache and no beard. I was in elementary school, on the bus, with my nemesis, a boy I liked. I said, "You're so stupid you think dogs lay eggs." And he said, "Well, lay one and we'll find out." I was crushed. Holy duck. You would be the laughing stock of Hufflepuff. Apostrophe. You're as stable as a balsa wood roller coaster. Don't try this on a structural engineer with a elastic modulus in compression of 460/71 MPa, an elastic modulus in tension /R1280 450 MPa, and proper engineering. Balsa wood wouldn't have any stability issues. It is actually a pretty strong, lightweight wood widely used in building construction. Out of all the flavors in the world, why you gotta be salty? I've heard worse from better. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer, Rick Sanchez. My 5-year-old daughter usually goes for stinky something. Stinkerhead is probably her go-to, but we've been called all kinds of stinky things. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. Having grown up in Texas, I've heard a ton. A few that stick out. Long on lungs, short on brains. His elevator doesn't go all the way up. He's a few logs short of a chord. When the Lord was handing out brains, he was stuck in the nose line. He's about as sharp as a marble. If brains was water, he wouldn't have enough to drown a grasshopper. Apostrophe. Buddy number 1. Driving. I should rear end that car so I can get that girl's number. Buddy #2. That is the only way you will tap that from behind. You're made out of spare parts, aren't ya, bud? How about you be seen and not heard? I was politely told to stfu. You're a pizza burn on the roof of the world's mouth. Illiterate walnut. I'm a teacher and here's a story. One of my middle school students was playing hangman with his class during study hall and no one could guess the correct letters to his word because he spelled the word wrong. When the class finally lost and he revealed the word, one very upset student started yelling at him, "Sit down, you illiterate walnut." I thought it was the perfect insult for the situation. The first child who spelled the word wrong did eventually take his seat after doing the worm. God, middle school students are weird. Everyone knows that. Why don't you? Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.